Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Kyle under suspicion after Audra's medical trauma. The Young and the Restless, Y&R, spoilers indicate that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, could be on the hot seat after Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, has a medical emergency. Is this the time Kyle pays the consequences for all of his tangling with the sexy minx? Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Y&R spoilers hint that a medical crisis plot is on the horizon, and we are left guessing who is involved. But with half the town hating on Miss Audra right now, it's easy to think she could be the victim. Is Audra the victim? There are a plethora of people who have motive to get rid of the troublemaker in couture. And we are speculating here. If Audra is targeted, we predict she will use up one of her 9 lives and live to tell the tale. Who is on the list of suspects? Let's start with Claire Newman, Haley Aaron. She has spit out public threats at her rival and would be on any suspect list for Audra. Then there's Kyle, who has a past and a present with Audra. These two had a confrontation in the September 23rd episode, and that could come back to haunt him. Are Claire in the weeds? During their spat, Kyle told Audra no one needed or wanted her, and that no one would care if something happened to Audra, foreshadowing, much? What is this? Kyle desperately wants Audra to stop interfering in his romance with Claire, and a poisoning or car wreck would do that. And, if Claire leaves Kyle right before Audra's potential ordeal, that makes him look super guilty. Is Kyle guilty? Given the animosity between them, Kyle would immediately fall under suspicion if anything untoward happens to Audra. Then again, we don't put it past Audra to frame Kyle for something, anything, just for funsies. Because what else does she have going on in her life right now? What happens next on The Young and the Restless? Whatever goes down next in GC, Kyle could find himself in the weeds. We will bring you all the juice regarding this potential plot, so stay tuned. Spoilers hint that there are some twists and turns coming Audra and Kyle's way. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Kyle under suspicion after Audra's medical trauma. The Young and the Restless is never short on shocking twists, and it seems Genoa City may soon find itself embroiled in another tangled web of suspicion, betrayal, and secrets. At the center of the latest drama sits Kyle Abbott, a man who has already been skating on thin ice with his family, his love life, and his professional decisions. But could things take an even darker turn as questions swirl around Audra Charles's sudden and alarming medical trauma? Rumors suggest that Audra's crisis could shake the Abbott family to its core while raising doubts about Kyle's involvement in ways no one could have seen coming. The fallout promises to be explosive, with lives and reputations at stake. Audra Charles has been one of Genoa City's most calculating and ambitious players, often juggling alliances and schemes to elevate herself into positions of power. She's been ruthless at times, cunning at others, and rarely one to show vulnerability. But recent developments may flip the script, putting Audra in the most vulnerable position yet. A sudden medical emergency that not only leaves her life hanging in the balance but also sparks whispers about who might have wanted her hurt. In true soap fashion, when something like this happens, the fallout is never just about health, it's about suspicion, blame, and revelations that ripple across the canvas. Kyle Abbott's name is suddenly being whispered in connection to Audra's trauma. Fans of The Young and the Restless know Kyle has been no stranger to controversy lately. From failed romances to questionable alliances, Kyle has been written into a corner that makes him look like an unpredictable wild card. Could Kyle have played a role in what happened to Audra, either directly or indirectly? Was there an altercation, an argument that went too far, or perhaps even a setup designed to make him look guilty? These are the burning questions simmering among the Genoa City residents and Y&R viewers alike. The relationship between Kyle and Audra has always been complicated. What started as a mutual attraction fueled by ambition quickly spiraled into something toxic. Audra has been known to manipulate her way into Kyle's orbit, using charm and seduction to secure her position, whether in business or personal matters. Kyle, on the other hand, has been equally guilty of leaning into their chemistry, even when it put him at odds with his family and his responsibilities. Their entanglement has been less about love and more about convenience, ego, and temporary satisfaction. But could those sparks have ignited something darker, resentment, betrayal, or even violence? Jack Abbott, always eager to protect his family but weary from decades of cleaning up after them, may find himself forced to confront a horrifying possibility. Could his own son be involved in Audra's near-tragic situation? The Abbott family has weathered countless storms, from business rivalries to personal scandals, but suspicion of foul play against a woman connected to Kyle would put them in dangerous new territory. Jack has been desperately trying to rein Kyle in, urging him to make wiser choices both in the boardroom and in his personal life. This incident could serve as a brutal wake-up call that no matter how much he tries, Kyle's recklessness might eventually destroy him, and by extension, the family's reputation. Diane Jenkins, Kyle's mother, will also no doubt be pulled into the drama. Diane has been fighting tirelessly to rebuild her image and prove herself as a trustworthy figure in the Abbott family's world. But if Kyle is implicated in something as sinister as Audra's medical crisis, Diane could once again find her loyalties torn. She has spent months defending her son's decisions and pushing back against critics who think Kyle is spiraling. Now, however, even Diane might be forced to face the possibility that her son is not entirely innocent. For a woman like Diane, whose entire redemption arc depends on staying grounded, this storyline could deliver devastating personal consequences. On the flip side, let's consider Audra herself. Y&R has built her up as a fighter, someone who doesn't go down without a plan or an agenda. If she survives this medical trauma, and soap operas rarely let such storylines end without the victim rising stronger than ever, Audra could weaponize the situation to her advantage. Imagine the possibilities, Audra waking up and pointing the finger directly at Kyle, whether truthfully or manipulatively. That kind of accusation could set off a domino effect that impacts Jabot, Newman Media, and half the Genoa City power players. Even if Kyle is innocent, Audra's word carries weight, and her flair for drama means she wouldn't hesitate to frame things in a way that benefits her. Summer Newman, who has already had her fair share of heartbreak thanks to Kyle's betrayals, could also become a central figure in the fallout. Summer has always been caught between love and frustration when it comes to Kyle. If Kyle is accused of wrongdoing in connection to Audra's trauma, Summer may feel both vindicated and devastated. Vindicated because it confirms her worst fears about Kyle's instability, but devastated because the father of her child could be facing ruin. This could lead to a custody battle, a renewed war between families, and emotional turmoil that stretches across multiple storylines. Victor Newman, as always, could be a wild card in the mix. Victor has no love lost for those who cross his family or their business interests, and if Audra's medical situation connects to Newman Media in any way, Victor will want answers. He may see Kyle as an easy scapegoat or a pawn to manipulate. Victor thrives in chaos, and using Kyle's troubles to Newman's advantage would be just the sort of chess move that defines Victor's legacy. Of course, Y&R thrives on misdirection. Just because Kyle is under suspicion doesn't mean he's guilty. Soap writers love to dangle a suspect in front of the audience only to later reveal a shocking twist. Could it be that someone else entirely is responsible for Audra's trauma? Perhaps she was involved in shady dealings that caught up with her. Perhaps another rival, like Tucker McCall, who is never above scheming, had more to gain from taking Audra out of commission. The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes this storyline so compelling. The Young and the Restless thrives when personal drama collides with corporate intrigue, and this storyline has all the ingredients. If Kyle becomes a central suspect, it forces the Abbotts to circle the wagons, fractures relationships with the Newmans, and tests Audra's resilience. But above all, it raises an uncomfortable question: how far would Kyle Abbott really go when pushed to his limits? Is he merely a reckless son living in the shadow of his father, or is he capable of something far darker? As the fallout continues to unfold, Genoa City will be buzzing with speculation. Every character will have an opinion, every alliance will be tested, and the truth, when it finally comes out, may shock even the most seasoned viewers. Whether Kyle is guilty, innocent, or a pawn in a much larger game, one thing is certain: the road ahead will be filled with betrayal, heartbreak, and explosive revelations. Y&R fans better buckle up, because this storyline has the potential to reshape the Abbott and Newman families in ways we haven't seen in years. The Young and the Restless spoilers: Kyle under suspicion after Audra's medical trauma. The residents of Genoa City are no strangers to secrets, lies, and shocking events that change the course of their lives forever, but the latest whispers coming out of The Young and the Restless suggest a storyline that could rock both the Abbott and Newman families to the core. Audra Charles has landed herself in the middle of another storm, but this time, it isn't her scheming or manipulation that's making headlines, it's her sudden medical trauma. The once untouchable Audra is left vulnerable, and with questions swirling about how it happened and who might be responsible, Kyle Abbott finds himself under the microscope. Could the Abbott heir have been involved, either directly or indirectly, in Audra's near-tragic ordeal? And if so, what does this mean for his future, his family, and the fragile balance of power in Genoa City? Audra has built her reputation on confidence, intelligence, and a ruthless edge. She's never been one to let her guard down, always planning 3 steps ahead of her rivals. But all of that planning didn't protect her from the health scare that leaves her on the brink. Whether it was an accident, foul play, or a hidden medical condition, the fact remains: Audra is no longer in control, and that weakness opens the door for others to seize the narrative. Enter Kyle Abbott, a man whose recent track record makes him an easy target for suspicion. Kyle's love life has been chaotic, his business decisions questionable, and his alliances murky at best. Once seen as the golden boy of the Abbott clan, Kyle's downfall has been slow but steady, fueled by rash decisions and reckless behavior. The fact that he was romantically and personally entangled with Audra only adds fuel to the fire. Their relationship was volatile from the beginning, mixing attraction with ambition and a healthy dose of mistrust. Could an argument between the two have spiraled out of control, leading to Audra's medical crisis? Or is Kyle merely being framed for a crime of circumstance? The Abbott family is already bracing for impact. Jack Abbott has spent years cleaning up after his children and family members, and while he's no stranger to defending his son, this situation could be one of the most damaging yet. A connection between Kyle and Audra's trauma would not only taint Kyle's reputation but could also drag Jabot into scandal at a time when the company can't afford any more instability. Jack knows better than anyone how quickly whispers in Genoa City turn into front-page headlines, and this particular scandal would be nearly impossible to spin. Diane Jenkins, Kyle's mother, has been desperately working to rebuild her own reputation, and she's fought tooth and nail to be welcomed back into the Abbott family fold. If her son is implicated in Audra's medical crisis, Diane will once again face the harsh judgment of Genoa City. Her critics will argue that she passed her manipulative tendencies down to Kyle, while her supporters will see a mother standing by her son at all costs. Either way, Diane's redemption could crumble under the weight of suspicion. Audra herself may end up being the deciding factor in Kyle's fate. If she recovers and points the finger at Kyle, whether out of truth or manipulation, his world could implode overnight. Audra knows how to wield power, even from a hospital bed. If she sees an opportunity to gain sympathy, settle scores, or gain leverage in her professional world, she'll use it. Summer Newman, meanwhile, will be caught in the crossfire. Kyle's ex-wife has always struggled with her complicated feelings toward him, balancing her love for the father of her child with her frustration over his selfish choices. If Kyle is accused of wrongdoing in Audra's trauma, Summer may feel both justified in her decision to distance herself and conflicted about his future role in Harrison's life. This could ignite a fierce custody battle, and if Kyle's reputation sinks, Summer could find herself in the stronger legal position. Victor Newman could also see this crisis as an opportunity. If Audra's trauma ties back to Newman Media, Victor may step in, determined to protect his empire and spin the situation to his advantage. Victor is known for his ability to use personal crises to strengthen his grip on power, and Kyle could quickly find himself a pawn in one of Victor's schemes. The mustache has little patience for weakness, and Kyle's vulnerability could be exploited in ways that further destabilize the Abbotts. But what if Kyle isn't guilty at all? Y&R has a long tradition of red herrings, where the most obvious suspect is later proven innocent while the true culprit is revealed in a shocking twist. Audra has plenty of enemies, from Tucker McCall to rivals in her professional world. Her medical trauma could be the result of someone else's vendetta, or even the consequence of her own risky behavior. The beauty of this storyline lies in its uncertainty. Just when fans think they know the answer, another twist will send them reeling. No matter the outcome, the repercussions will be enormous. If Kyle is guilty, the Abbott family will face a scandal that could shake them to their foundation. If he's innocent, his name will still be dragged through the mud, leaving scars on his reputation and relationships. Audra's survival and testimony will play a pivotal role in determining how the dominoes fall, and her choices could set the stage for months of drama. The Young and the Restless thrives on the intersection of personal betrayal and corporate intrigue, and this storyline has all the makings of a classic. With Kyle under suspicion, Audra vulnerable, and the power players of Genoa City circling like sharks, fans are in for a roller coaster of accusations, heartbreak, and jaw-dropping revelations. Whether this marks the beginning of Kyle's downfall or his unexpected redemption, one thing is certain: the road ahead will leave no character untouched. The Young and the Restless spoilers: Kyle under suspicion after Audra's medical trauma? In Genoa City, every glance, every whispered conversation, and every unexpected event has the power to shift the balance of power. The latest development shaking the soap world is Audra Charles's sudden medical trauma, which has left fans shocked and desperate for answers. Audra is a character who thrives on control, who maneuvers herself into positions of power through a careful combination of intelligence, charm, and manipulation. But now, the woman who seemed untouchable lies vulnerable, and the questions surrounding her collapse are multiplying by the hour. At the center of the storm? None other than Kyle Abbott. Kyle, the Abbott golden boy who has recently been losing his shine, is suddenly finding himself a person of interest. His connection to Audra is undeniable. Their entanglement has been complicated, messy, and fraught with passion and mistrust. While Kyle has attempted to portray himself as a man who can juggle family expectations, romantic complications, and corporate ambitions, the truth is that his life has been unraveling piece by piece. This newest scandal threatens to push him over the edge, making him look reckless, guilty, and possibly dangerous. The whispers began almost instantly. Was Kyle somehow responsible for what happened to Audra? Was their relationship more volatile than anyone realized? Did an argument spiral out of control? Or, perhaps more chillingly, is Kyle being framed for something he didn't do, his name dragged into the mud as part of a larger plot? For the Young and the Restless fans, the thrill lies in not knowing where the story will twist next. Audra's vulnerability is a plot point few saw coming. She has always been painted as one of the more formidable new players in Genoa City, a woman who never seemed to lose her footing no matter the opposition. For her, Tucker McCall must also be considered. Tucker has always been a dangerous man with hidden motives and questionable loyalties. He's had his issues with Audra in the past, and it wouldn't be surprising if he had a hand in this crisis. If Tucker is behind what happened to her, Kyle may just be collateral damage in Tucker's larger game. Yet suspicion will still fall on Kyle, leaving him scrambling to defend himself while Tucker quietly enjoys the chaos he created. The biggest question remains: is Kyle guilty or innocent? Y&R has a tradition of luring fans into assuming one thing before pulling the rug out from under them. The fact that Kyle is under suspicion makes him the obvious suspect, but soap fans know the obvious suspect is often a red herring. That means the real answer may lie elsewhere, perhaps in Audra's own scheming, perhaps in an enemy no one saw coming. Her medical trauma may have been the result of secrets she was keeping close to her chest, secrets that could explode when the truth finally comes to light. Still, Kyle's reputation is fragile, and this scandal might be the breaking point. Even if he is innocent, the whispers will follow him, staining his relationships and threatening his standing at Jabot. For Kyle, this could become the defining moment of his life, a choice between crumbling under the weight of suspicion or rising to clear his name and reclaim his identity. The drama has only just begun, and as Genoa City rallies around Audra, or sharpens their knives against her, the fallout promises to be unforgettable. Whether Kyle is a villain, a victim, or something in between, the young and the restless fans know one thing for certain: this storyline will leave no one untouched.